Good morning. We are now on day 67 of our 365-day trek through the Bible. We are still in the midst of the ancient sagas. At this point, we are looking at the period between Abraham and the Exodus. And on day 67 today, we find baby Moses amongst the reeds in Exodus chapter 1, verse 22 to chapter 2, verse 10. The king issued a proclamation to all the people. You must seize every newborn Hebrew boy and throw him in the Nile. Let all the girls live. Whilst this was going on, a man from the tribe of Levi married a woman from his own tribe, and they had a son. She saw what a good-looking baby he was and kept him in hiding for 3 months, until the time came when she couldn't hide him any longer. So she took a reed basket and waterproofed it with tar and put the baby in it. She then put it in the tall grass at the river's edge. The baby's sister stood a little way off to watch what would happen. The king's daughter came down to the river to bathe, while her servants walked along the riverbank. She suddenly noticed the basket in the tall grass and sent a slave woman after it. The princess opened it and saw the baby boy who was crying. She felt sorry for him and said, "This is one of the Hebrew babies." His sister came and asked, "Do you want me to get a Hebrew woman to nurse him?" "Please do that," she answered. So the girl set off and brought the baby's own mother. The princess told the woman, "I will pay you to take this baby and breastfeed him for me." So she did. And later, when the child was old enough, she took him to the king's daughter, who adopted him. She said to herself, "I pulled him out of the water. I'll name him Moses," which sounds like pulled out in Hebrew. Like many a hero's saga, the story of Moses begins with a special birth. In Moses' case, it is not an unlikely conception, but a near miraculous escape. The massacre of the innocents is, of course, not a one-off event, but occurs often enough in human history, when those in power feel invulnerable and beyond criticism and perceive or invent a potential threat. Here in Egypt, we have possibly Ramesses II murdering boy children because the Hebrews were growing alarmingly in strength and in numbers. This reminds us of Jeremiah. Look at Jeremiah 31, verse 15. Jeremiah mourning the children who were killed by the invading Babylonian troops. And of course, we are also reminded of the story in Matthew chapter 2, verses 16 to 18, which refers to Herod culling the male children of Bethlehem in a futile attempt to kill off a rival Messiah. Cleverly, in the story we read today, the Hebrew women in this story concealed the birth of baby Moses and contrived to have the beautiful boy rescued and elevated to near royal status. He knew, presumably from his own mother, that he was really a Hebrew, and when he grew up, his status and freedom as a member of the royal household enabled him to see the working conditions that had been imposed on his own people. The violent murder of a Hebrew by an Egyptian angered him very much, and in secret, as a grown-up, he killed the Egyptian. But when he intervened afterwards in an argument between two Hebrews, he discovered that there had been witnesses who saw him killing the Egyptian. Fearing for his own life, he fled the country. In Midian, he met the daughters of the priest Jethro and joined their household, marrying one of the daughters. Eventually, the old king died, but the oppression of the Hebrews grew worse. They prayed to the God of their ancestors. Moses was abroad, working for his father-in-law, looking after his sheep, presumably content on the personal level. It was time for God to intervene. The story continues tomorrow, when Moses finally meets God and is given an important job to do. I'll see you then.